Boom, got it. We live streaming. We got some folks in here. So it says I'm live. All right, I'm gonna post this on the group events. Got it. Turn the speaker off here. Transitioning into tech. All right, I think we're good to go. If everybody could tell me what city and state you guys are checking in from in the chat. Y'all could use the chat to tell me what city and state you guys are checking in from. That would be cool for me to know. And I'll check that chat here in a second and give y'all a shout out. I'm about to post the link to this in the group and allow people to watch maybe. We're live now. All right, transitioning into tech. Post it in the Black IT Network so folks can see and hop on. Man, that means I got to keep my eye on this chat too. All right, I'm trying to make it work, y'all. Admit. All right, let me go to this chat and see if y'all are active in here. All right, good morning and welcome to everybody that's in here. Thanks for joining me on this, man, what I'm gonna call this, man? Black TED Talk, Black History Month TED Talk. Thanks for joining me. Y'all could be anywhere in the world today, but y'all are here with me, and I do appreciate that. A lot of beautiful people in here. So today I'm gonna talk a little bit about my my journey in tech, kind of how I got into it, but I don't really want to dwell on that too much unless y'all have, you know, some deep questions that y'all want to get into. What I really want to do is I want to have conversations with y'all and find out like what it is y'all want to know, what areas of tech y'all are trying to get into, and how I can help y'all out with that journey. Might just have some information. I might be able to tell y'all, you know, some routes to go. I've got a lot of friends and family members in the tech space, so I could probably give you guys at least some type of advice to help make that transition from, you know, from the streets to the industry a little bit easier. So let me check this chat out and see what's up. So you can hear me. Hey, Shells. Hey, Cecilia, Larkeisha. Cecilia checking in from New York, New York. Marquita from Irving, Texas, right around the corner. Michael Brown, Houston, Texas. Markeisha, Atlanta, Georgia. Shells is in Richardson. Austin, Keisha's checking in. Kelly from Laurel, Maryland. Adrian from Chicago. Gabby from Maryland. And we do have a question here in the chat. Marquita says, I'm a nurse and I'm nearing the completion of my bachelor's in software development. I know C++ and a little bit of front end knowledge. How can I find work now? I've been applying, but no leads. Marquita, are you comfortable coming on camera and unmuting yourself and having a conversation with me?
Yes, I have my bonnet on, so I'm going to keep the camera
cool.
off.
It's Black History Month. Represent that bonnet. As long as it's a silk bonnet, you should be all
But
right.
I'm in bed. Hold on, wait, let me see. All right, okay,
Come on,
that's
now,
not too bad.
represent. You look
All
just
right.
fine. You look just fine.
How are you doing,
That's
Victor?
Black excellence popping.
Hi,
I'm
everyone.
doing good.
Yeah.
So you're a
So
nurse?
yes, I am.
So I'm gonna ask you a few other questions before we get into the
Yes.
C plus piece. And
Yes,
y'all, I
go
might
ahead.
be walking away from the camera to and fro because I got two kids over here. I think I need to put some breakfast together for 'em. Maybe my beautiful daughter already did it. She look like she good. So if I walk away, I'll still be able to hear y'all and talk to y'all, but just bear with me. Beauties of working from home, right? So um, you're a nurse. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it. What software do you use at the hospital?
We use Meditech, um,
Mhm,
Epic. I'm missing
mhm,
one.
mhm.
I've used Epic, Meditech, and
Cerner, maybe?
yes, Cerner. Yes.
Okay. Have you looked into transitioning into being a support person for one of those softwares?
I actually have. I have applied for nursing, shoot, informatic jobs, and I
Okay,
haven't had any leads yet.
okay. So here's a piece of advice. Um, Look up Go Lives, Epic Go Lives, EPICGOLIVE, and Cerner Go Live, GOLIVE.
Okay.
So when hospitals are switching over to a new software, oftentimes it's either Epic or Cerner. It's in my to my recollection when I was in that industry, a lot of companies were using Epic, but I know that the government
Yes.
within the last few years got a multi-billion-dollar contract signed with Cerner, who is
Yes.
based in, dang, are they based in? I want to say Nebraska, but I think it's maybe Kansas. I think they're based in
Okay.
Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. So the government signed a multi-billion-dollar contract with them because I think because of President Obama's administration, they made a mandate that all medical facilities must transfer over to electronic health care records within a
Yes.
certain amount of years, right? And so the government kind of helping out with that signed a contract with Cerner to transition like all of the VAs and all of the medical facilities that are government run. Um, that's a six-figure role, right?
Okay.
Cerner Go
Okay.
Lives, Epic Go Lives, Epic Trainer, Cerner Trainer. Those are six-figure roles. I used to be an Epic trainer slash Go Liver, and so as different hospitals were transitioning over to Epic or Cerner, they would fly a crew down there on a project to help train the entire hospital on that software.
Yes.
So we would be in the ERs, we would be in the ORs, we would be in the labor and delivery room, we would be in the rehab clinics, we would be literally every part of the hospital. There will be a Cerner like tech or Epic tech working with the doctor, nurse, surgeon, whoever to help them because like they're in the middle of surgery and they have to enter this patient information into this new system that they've never used before. So they're
Yes.
doing
Yes.
two complicated things at the same time. So they've got someone there that providing elbow support is what they call it to the doctors and the nurses, helping
Okay.
them enter that information and not get jammed up too much. So those contracts could start and be like, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, just depending on the hospital and how long they want you there. And if you have good customer service skills, sometimes they'll extend you to work in that hospital longer because a specific nurse or doctor really liked you and wanted you to keep you there. Easily see those people who go out on those go lives making $50 an hour, 60, 75, 80, $100 an hour plus. I did
Oh,
see that of some of my mentors who helped me get into that industry. So I would probably start there. The
okay.
second piece I would say is like, don't discount your healthcare history because there are a lot of healthcare companies that are looking for people with your specific skill set. I had somebody recently go through my program. I've got a Scrum Master coaching program, and she was, and she's going to kill me, but she was either a physical therapist or occupational therapist. I don't remember which one, but she got a job at Blue Cross Blue Shield
Hmm.
working as a scrum master there. And so where you would think she has to leave all of that history behind, I told her, no, lead with that. You need to apply to healthcare companies, medical facilities, and lead with your healthcare background because there's not going to be very many scrum masters that come in with such a deep and rich healthcare knowledge such as that. So
Yes.
same thing for you. When you're going out looking for these organizations, focus on organizations that are healthcare organizations because they will value that nursing degree and that nursing experience.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. I'm looking at this go live now. So thank you for that.
No problem. One other thing, if you could get your company to sponsor a Epic certification, that would make you a really valuable candidate. You can only get Epic certified if you are sponsored by a healthcare facility that is currently using Epic. So there's no amount of money you can pay to just go to Epic and be like, yo, here's 20 grand, let me get a
Right.
certification. They won't do it. You have to be
Okay.
working for a hospital. They have to sponsor you. So the people who have certifications in Epic specifically are like very highly regarded because they're so difficult to come by people who are in that industry. So just having that and having worked in hospital for so long is going to put you kind of at the top of the list when you go to different recruiting agencies. And so the way you get to those companies is you can find specific healthcare recruiting agencies that specialize in those go lives. They do hundreds of go lives every year, and they're looking for people with your specific background. So if you have
Okay.
that certification, that puts you at the top of the list. Even if you don't, just being a nurse and already working in the healthcare field puts you also at the top of the list, because there are also people like me in that industry who, like, I don't really have healthcare background, but I was able to learn the software, right? I didn't get certified, but I was able to learn it, speak to it, and was able to interview well enough to get placed in a
Okay.
position supporting it. So that's where I would start. But yeah, when you're going for software development and you're looking for C+, like, look for organizations who are hiring for those roles, but that are healthcare specific.
Yes. Okay.
And that should make that
Okay.
transition a lot easier for you.
Perfect.
All
Okay.
right. You
Thank you,
have any other
Lisa.
specific questions for me, or?
I'll probably have some. I will give
Okay.
my time to someone else.
All right. Thank you very much,
Thank
Marquita.
you.
Have a wonderful day. All right.
You
Let's
too.
see. If y'all have questions, drop
I
them
have
in the
one.
chat. Alicia, go ahead. Be
Uh,
bold. Come on. Step
yeah.
up. Let's do it.
It's dark. I'm not all gussied up, but
It's cool.
good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be in this niche community about Blacks in tech. We're so limited. So my background is I'm trying to figure out how to pivot. Okay. So my background is I have about 5 to 6 years of tech experience, but my tech experience comes from working in a call center. So for like 2.5 years, I worked for a subcontractor for Google. So I did all their products, Play, all their different products that they had, Wallet, and I did tech for that for about 2.5 years. Then recently I started working for an insurance company, and I was doing technical support, troubleshooting cell phones, tablets, smartwatches, just any like smart device and internet connected things, computers, printers, but it was all in that call center environment. So I've been trying to figure out a way, how do I pivot? Because I don't want to keep being stuck in these call center roles, of course. And I'm currently in a program where I'm getting A+ network, cloud, and security plus, I believe. I'm taking a course, and then I'm going to take the certification for it. So I just want to know, how do I pivot, per se, these kind of customer servicey tech support jobs to an actual role where I'm not on the phone and I'm just doing this full time, salaried, with a good organization. That's where I'm struggling at. Maybe a year and a half ago, I left the workforce due to, I have children, so I had to homeschool. I'm just now about to get back out there, but I don't want to go back into a call center environment. I'm above that, I feel like, and I have a bachelor's degree as well.
Okay. So what in the call center, what type of role are you doing? What are you working on?
I'm doing like tier 1. You call in, like my last role, you call in saying, hey, my email's not working on my phone. And then I'm reconnecting their email, or they had storage issues. It's just basically customers that were not knowledgeable about tech and their devices. And I'm literally teaching them, hey, you can't download this app because you don't have enough storage, and educating them on it, doing it for them, and then resolving like actual issues with it.
Sure.
Sorry,
Let
I'm
me
on
ask you this.
it was hard for me to like kind of say this in a
No, it's
organized
fine.
way.
No, you good. You're good. You're good. Do you guys have a tier 2 support at your organization?
There was a tier 2 support where it would be you wouldn't be on the phone with customers anymore. You're just helping the agents. So the agents come to you when they're stuck on something like, hey, I don't understand how they're trying to connect. Yeah. So
escalations, but
yeah, escalations, exactly. Just
inside escalations. How difficult would it be for you to move to tier 2 within the organization?
Well, I'm not with the organization anymore because I left the workforce, but I don't think it would be difficult at all with my bachelor's degree, the years of experience I have. But I just want to get completely out of that call center environment because the pay is, not high enough.
So one thing about me, I'm always open when it comes to money. So we talk numbers. So what was that pay that was not high enough for you, and where do you want to be at?
So when I left, I was making about $19 an hour. So I'm trying to get in about like the 65K range.
So that's about
where,
like $30 to $32 an hour.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get there. So that's why I'm taking the courses that I'm taking to get the certifications. So yeah, that's where I'm interested in getting. And I just want to know like what would be the best avenue to pivot. Now, I'm fine with not making that leap immediately, but maybe like 20,000 more, 15,000 more. And
all right.
Yeah.
So let me tell you this. Tier 3 support makes around 50, 60K.
Oh, okay.
Right? 1 second, my son is here. He wants to make an
Yeah,
appearance. Yes, sir. How can I help you? You want to get on me? Okay, come on. Oh, we gotta change this pull up. Go sit on the potty. I'll come change you in a minute. Okay, sit on the potty, then you come sit with me. Tier 3, 50, 60K. I'm not looking it up right now, but from what I can remember when I was working tier 3 support, 50, 60K. A lot of email support tickets. I was working at an organization where I was responsible for like imaging computers and like swapping out hard drives and stuff like that. Also like transferring over PSTN files from people's emails, doing things of that nature. But don't shy away from tier 2 and tier 3 support. At the right organization, you can make some decent money in tier 2 and tier 3 support. I think once you get to like tier 2 and tier 3 support, people in an organization that you're working for will have a different level of respect for you. People will have a different level of respect for you, and it'll be easier for you to transition into another role. While I was working in tier 3 support, there were a lot of like server roles and admin roles that I could have transitioned to had I had the skill set, but I just didn't have that skill set at that time, and I didn't really understand what they were doing when I was in that role. The thing about you, because you're so friendly and you're so personable, what I would lean on when I apply for those tier 3 support roles is the fact that you have a customer service background, right? I would always, in my interviews, right, they would ask me, and I didn't have any certifications, right? And so I would say, look, I'm probably not the most technical candidate that you're going to interview for this role, right? So if you're looking for somebody who's super duper technical, that's probably not me. But what I do bring to the table is a long history of customer service excellence, right? And understanding how to communicate with customers, right? And so generally speaking, a lot of people in IT are not, how do I put this politely, aren't the most charismatic, right? And so sometimes they can like overcomplicate the explanation of technical solutions to people, right? Or overcomplicate troubleshooting. And so having someone who can speak to it at an elementary level, make really complicated things sound not so complicated, and deliver that white glove service. That's something that a lot of organizations are going to have a respect for, right? And if you think about it, you can't teach. It's really difficult to teach those soft skills. It's more difficult to teach customer service than it is to teach a technical skill, right? There are millions of technical schools and trade schools and boot camps that you can go to learn something technical. There aren't as many schools that teach people customer service and soft skills and how to speak to a customer. So if you have that naturally, if they invest in that, they're probably going to see a better return helping you move up as far as your technical skills go. And by the sounds of things, you sound like you're probably more technically advanced than I was back then. So you might not even have to give that spiel, but I would still lean on like that customer service piece, because there are a lot of organizations that will respect that and that do want that. I think our people, when transitioning into tech, underestimate the value of just being personable, just being friendly, just like being able to connect with people.
Okay, I love everything you said. I think you're pretty spot on, because I have applied for different roles in the past where I didn't have per se the skill set, but I won them over my personality, my customer
Absolutely.
skills, and I've been voted employee of the month. I'm always that person when you come to a place. I'm always like, even if it's not my job, I'm gonna point you in the right direction. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna be super nice and caring when I do it. So that always helps me in every position that I have. So thank you so much. Like, I wrote all of this down. I can't thank you enough. I am going to do this and I'm going to let somebody else get on, but thank you so much, Victor.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alicia. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. We got a couple of folks with their hands up, a couple of folks who send me some DMs and some direct messages. Let's see. We got Vegas in the building. I'm currently in an SDR BDR boot camp. I'm trying to break into tech sales. I've been interviewing all week. I was told the interview process is more difficult than the actual sales process. What advice do you have for me? Larkeisha, are you still on? Where you at, Larkeisha? There she go. All right, if you could go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm still on.
All right, so tell me about what tech sales you're trying to do. What are you trying to sell in tech?
I want to sell live chat AI.
Okay.
And I've had a couple leads in different areas. I actually applied to Google and I made it to the hiring committee and they didn't accept me, which was like a really hard blow for me because I had to reevaluate myself and try to figure out what I was doing wrong. I felt like I gave them 120%, but it was just something about my resume that didn't go through.
So first thing I'll say is, congratulations. That's quite a feat. You shouldn't feel defeated or take it as a blow to not get selected by Google. In the final round, there are a lot of people who send a resume to Google and never hear back, right? So the fact that you were able to get that far should just let you know that you're doing a lot of things right. I would say, one, there are a lot of boot camps that I've seen, and even just people on YouTube that talk about the Google interview process and that break it down and that give you like tips on how to make it through each round. Supposedly they say they've kind of got it down to where it's like almost a science for how they can help you get through that process. So I would suggest that you get on YouTube and Google and search for like the Google interview process, right? I got hired at Google and this is how. Search for those things because they'll be able to give you some tips. Another thing that I'll say, if you ever find yourself interviewing in front of a panel of people, and it's really important, actually, I do this for every single one of my interviews, okay? So at the end of the interview, after they've asked me all their questions and they give me the opportunity to ask questions, I ask them, right? This is the one question I make sure I always ask. And I try to phrase it like this, right? I really appreciate the opportunity to interview with you guys. It's been such an honor. Because I'm an Agilist, I work in Agile and Scrum, and so we do like continuous improvement and stuff like that, right? So in the state, with the mindset of continuous improvement and always wanting to get better, how do you guys feel like I did today? Do you feel like there are any areas that I can improve on, right? And so that gives them the opportunity. First off, a lot of times it catches people off guard because usually people aren't that forward with like, yo, how did I do? Am I gonna get the job? So they're like, oh, wow, that's a really great question. First off, they usually say that. And then they say, you know what, when it came to this topic, you could be a little bit stronger. I really wanted you to talk a little bit more about this in this way, and you didn't, and I was kind of disappointed. Or they'll say, man, you know what, you were so great. Like, you were amazing. I can't really find any areas that, I would want you to improve in, right? And so that at least gives you the opportunity to get like some sort of feedback from them. Because I know probably with Google, it's like a very cold rejection email that you get, and you don't actually get the opportunity to probably speak to anyone to help walk you through that process, right?
Yes, just the recruiter, she just ghosted me and I didn't hear anything back from them. I didn't get any feedback. She was just saying it was by a hairline. I wish she didn't tell me it was by a hairline because I was just like, well, what is it?
Yeah. keep applying. I'll say just keep applying, keep hard. One of the things I tell to the students I have in my coaching program, like we fill it out between 20 to 50 applications a day. 20 to 50 applications a day. And so that may not necessarily be the manually filled out applications. That could be sending an email to a recruiter. That could be doing a quick apply on Career Builder. That could be one-click apply on LinkedIn. But like perseverance is the key. Perseverance is the key. And getting feedback on yourself and getting feedback on your resume. But I think like if Google didn't pick you up, like there are probably hundreds of other organizations that would love to have you. So don't get discouraged. So were you applying for a sales role at Google?
Yes.
Okay. Here's some other advice, right? Have you ever had a sales role before?
Yes.
Okay.
I was a sales account manager and I worked in logistics sales.
Okay. Have you ever looked into researching like small tech startups?
No.
Right? I know you want to go for the behemoth, right, at Google, but look into tech startups. A lot of times tech startups are a lot more welcoming of people, right? A lot more diverse, and it's a bit easier to get in. Sometimes the pay can be hit or miss, but a lot of times if you get in early enough and you're there for a year or two, they'll start giving you stock options. And eventually in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, when they grow big enough, they may get bought out by Google. So you may indirectly end up as an employee of Google. But I would say start at the smaller companies. Are you currently working?
No, I've just been totally focused in the boot camp.
Okay. Here's another thing I tell people. It's kind of like dating, right? When you're dating and in a relationship, when you're not dating anyone, but you're looking for somebody to date, like the prospects be few and far between. You'd be like, where are they at? I can't find nobody out here, right? And as soon as you get in a relationship, like they all start coming out the woodworks and start DMing and start texting. And it's like, where was y'all at for the last 6 months when I was looking, right? So it's the same thing with jobs, right? When you have a job, I think like your energy and your aura is different in the interviews. So more companies will want to like court you and send you offers. When you don't have a job, I think sometimes that desperation sets in and that thirsty energy can be on us, and they can like see and feel it and hear it in the interviews, and they can kind of like make them want to be like, we don't know if we want that candidate. So I would say like get something, right? Even if it's not the exact thing that you want, and like use that to build yourself up, and then use that to move to the next role. I don't have a lot of experience in sales specifically. A lot of my support is in like customer service, desktop support, tier 3 support, kind of software engineering, just a little bit. So that's what I would say. I have worked in sales before though. I worked at Radio Shack for 10 years as a sales agent and Verizon and a couple of other spots. But yeah, that's kind of what I would say. Shoot for startups. Look for startups. There's a website. Man, I don't know if I still have it pulled up, but is it Angel? Man, I can't remember it. Inbox me on Facebook and I'll search it for you. But there's a website that's like LinkedIn, but it's just for startups. And so you'll find all startup companies on there. Somebody told me about it. I'll send it to you if you inbox me though.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Larkeisha. All right, Keisha Hardwick, are you ready to ask me your question? So I'll read the one that you asked here in the chat, and then we can talk about it. I want to become an information systems manager. Is information tech or computer science degree best, and what is a good entry-level job to get there? Keisha, what's up?
Yeah. Hi. So I have a business background. My degree, everything is in business. I've been doing it for probably about 25, 26 years. And now I'm trying to go over into the tech field because I'm noticing that my business degree is it's like a jack of all trades. So I'm not getting any real nothing. So anyway, I'm trying to go into a field where it's a lot of room for growth, because I'm kind of hit this glass ceiling and I'm ready to do something different. So me being as old as I am, starting into the tech field, I'm hearing a lot
like you're 24 years old. Sure.
Oh no, I'm 46. So I'm hearing that in the tech field, they prefer more younger individuals. So my question is, Information systems management is something that it looks like it's interesting to me because I'm trying, my ultimate goal is being cybersecurity, but I know for a fact you can't just jump up and go into cybersecurity. Nobody wants to deal with that. So information systems management, I hear is a good, yeah, it's a good interlude. So the school that I just picked only have information technology and computer science. I was told information technology is like they kind of touch on everything. And computers science is more towards like writing programs and things like that. So I don't know which way to go, number one. And number two, I don't even know how to get started. I've been researching for 5 years on how to just get started in the tech field because I don't want to do what I did and get a degree in the wrong thing and have to go through what I'm going through now, where you got a degree that I feel is wasted. So I've joined every Black group I could, tech, whatever, and nobody kind of knows how to get started. So I'm at a standstill, and I'm getting ready to start classes in like 2 weeks, and I don't want to start in the wrong place.
So here's my advice. Well, first let me say this. In technology, I haven't seen a disdain for people who are later in their careers or people who have more experience.
Okay.
I personally have not seen it. A lot of times they're actually more respected than the kids who are just coming out of college. So I say that. So don't be scared of that. I'll also say that if you're looking to get into cybersecurity, the program that I've seen that a lot of people have been having success who are looking to get into kind of the cybersecurity field is a gentleman named, and we're not affiliated. I don't know him. I've never met him yet. But his name is Boyd Clewis, Boyd Clewis. And he's got a couple of programs that help people get into cybersecurity through, I think maybe like a certification or two, or just some like hands-on training that they can do through his program. I've got one of my students in my program that also went through his program and was able to find some success with that.
With no experience?
Yep. Well, I mean, so here's the thing. When people say no experience, I think people don't really understand the experience that you currently have and how it's transferable over into the new field that you're trying to go into.
Okay.
But no, she has not worked traditionally in IT. She was an educator. But even in education, when I talk to people about IT, like, what software did you use to communicate with your students and the parents? What software did you create your lesson plans? What software did you use to, I have a lot of diagnosticians that I work with, and like, what software did you use to document the process and all of the stuff that you have to track with your AEP and all of that stuff for the students that you're diagnosing, right? So teachers use software. Yeah. So by indirectly, they're in IT, and especially if you was a teacher during the pandemic, you for sure used IT, right? Yes. So indirectly, you could potentially work for a virtual school in the IT department, helping them develop their diagnostician software, because you've got 5 years experience working in diagnostician software. So at least you can help with the requirements and all of that stuff like this, the data gathering for the new diagnostician software that they're building out. So indirectly, I haven't really met anybody that doesn't have any IT experience at all. I've got a gentleman in my program who worked for a car dealership, and he like made copies of car keys. That's what he did. He traveled from dealership to dealership making copies of car keys. And so when I sit down and have a conversation with him, like, the machine he's using is a computer. Yeah. That's a software platform. And so you're an expert or a SME at that software. You're in technology, you just don't know it, right? And so I'll probably say the same thing to you if I ask you and we, have a discussion about where you've worked at before and what softwares you use and what systems you've used. There's probably some software that you're an expert at that you could use on your resume to help kind of give you that stepping stone, so that although you are entry level, you still have some sort of experience, if that makes sense.
That's good. Okay, gotcha.
I'll also say, from my experience in the IT field, certifications are more respected than degrees.
Okay.
Certifications are more respected than degrees. So you would probably do better getting a certification than you would going to school for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and getting a degree in IT.
Okay,
even
I'm glad you.
more, go ahead.
I'm glad you said that because I was registered to take certifications pertaining to cybersecurity, but I was told that they want the education. They're more and like all the job descriptions, they're saying they want at least a bachelor's degree and so many years experience. So I mean,
So let me
almost
address
everything.
that.
Yeah,
I'm
almost
glad you brought
every
that
job.
up.
Yeah.
99 times out of 100 that I've seen when and this is for everybody, when they say they want somebody with a bachelor's degree, the caveat is or commensurate experience. Even if they don't say it, they mean or commensurate experience.
Okay.
So if you have 4 years of experience doing something else that is IT related, they'll let you slide in, right? That's
Okay.
essentially kind of saying we don't want somebody that's fresh out of high school at 18.
Okay. Gotcha.
So if they can find somebody that's 22 that's got 4 years of experience also working at IT, they will swap out that experience for that degree most of the time.
Okay.
I've gotten, man, through my newest program, I've gotten about 40 people hired. Through my last program that I was doing, that was kind of unofficial, I've probably gotten about 25 people hired. I've never had someone be unable to find a job because they didn't have a degree.
That is good to know.
If
So
you have experience that is transferable, use that experience to speak from and apply for everything, regardless of what they say, apply for it. Don't you tell yourself what you can't get. Let somebody else tell you what you can't get, because you'll be surprised with what they will allow you to get based on what they see on your resume and based on the way you interview.
Okay, cool. One more question. I'm gonna let somebody else go.
Sure.
So now I got a choice between this bachelor's degree I'm supposed to start in 2 weeks or a boot camp. The boot camp option would probably be the best bet, I'm assuming, because I mean they're almost around the same as far as cost per semester.
So I would say, one, do the research on the boot camp that you want to go into. Find out the tangible skills that you're going to come away with. If the boot camp has like projects that you can work on, or like a portfolio that you can build as you come out of the boot camp, so that you can like show things that you've done in the space to help get you there, I would say do that. And the final thing I would say, like, even above certifications, what companies or organizations like respect more, right? It's degrees, I think, at the bottom, then certifications, but on top of that is like experience, right? So even if you don't have a certification, if you happen to have the opportunity to work in an organization where you learn this particular skill set and you were able to do that even without the cert, if you can get an interview and you can speak to that confidently, oftentimes even better than the people who are certified but don't necessarily have a deep experience doing it, they'll probably be like, oh yeah, we want that person. We can tell that they really have experience doing it. So yeah, when you're going through those boot camps, like, don't just go through it just to go through it. Don't just go through it to be like, I checked it off, now I had a certification. Like, make sure you have a deep understanding, a rich knowledge, and you can like really speak to it, and you've got some projects under your belt that you've actually done. That's the most important thing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you, Keisha. All right. Atara Israel, are you available to come on? Let's see. You say, what entry / beginner / brand new with no experience information or advice do you have / best places to start? Atara, tell me what background you're coming from.
So for the past couple of years, I have been a stay-at-home mom after COVID. I had a baby May of 20. So I've been at home since then. Before, it was almost a decade, I worked in a bank. So high customer service, not really very technical, I don't think. But I've recently been looking into the tech field, and it's so versatile. And like my family, I want to move so it can move with me. I can do remote stuff. But there is so much out there, and it's kind of like overwhelming in terms of entering and trying to figure out like, okay, what are my interests or what would I like to do? I'm hiding from my kids too, by the way. So if y'all hear little people, y'all ignore them. Okay. Sure. But yes, thank you.
No problem.
But yeah, so that's kind of where I am right now.
How many years did you work in banking?
9, 10.
Have you looked into IT roles within the banking industry?
I see. I don't want.
You don't want to be in the banking industry? Why don't you want to be in the banking industry?
I'm tired of it. I think I got burned out being in it so long, and it's not appealing anymore.
But if I was going to ask you, like, what role did you have? You were probably a teller. So you were probably like customer facing. You don't have to mute yourself when the kids come in. It's okay. Everybody got kids in the background.
Yeah,
don't worry about that.
We're facing for the most part of the decade, it was teller. And then I like branched out and did like, desk work, opening accounts, talking to people about different products, stuff like that, more along the sales side of things.
Sure. So as a teller, when you're like entering customer information and you're entering withdrawals and deposits, right? You guys use a software system, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that there's a department in your bank that doesn't talk to customers. They only work on that software and cleaning up the glitches and the issues and adding the updates and supporting that software. You know that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so they need people with that experience of working on the software to, again, help and guide them know and understand what the best updates or features would be to add to that. So maybe at best, you may talk to some tellers to get some advice on what's going on, but you won't be customer facing. You won't be touching money. You won't be really doing any of the same duties that you were doing previously. But because you've got 9 years of finance experience, you would probably be one of the best people in the organization that could hire on the back end to do that.
Okay.
So I would look into financial organizations, whether that's a bank directly, whether that's Charles Schwab. I got a few people working over at Charles Schwab, whether that's Fidelity. I got a few people working over at Fidelity, whether that's a company like Toyota Financial Services.
Okay,
Toyota Financial Services is the financial arm of Toyota, right? So Toyota is the one who manufactures the cars. I used to work at Toyota, so I worked on a Toyota TMNA, Toyota Motors North America side. But on the same campus, we had a financial organization that just handled the auto loans, and that's called TFS. So you could potentially go work at a company like TFS. I used to also work at GM Financial, who does the same thing for GM. So I've got a young lady, she wasn't here, but came through my program that worked for Nissan. So you could go to any of these organizations, their financial arm, and help them because you have that deep financial background. So I would try to leverage that and parlay it into the IT organization that you want to go work for. Now, the next thing you may have to do is like try to decide like which area of technology do I want to go to. I might say like look into potential like project management, product management, product manager, CSPO. So certified Scrum product owner is a certification you get in 2 days. And because you've got deep knowledge
what
of
is
that
one? Say that again. What's the name of that one?
Certified Scrum product owner, CSPO.
Okay.
And so that's the person who's responsible for kind of like owning a product within an organization and creating kind of the roadmap and a list of the features that the organization is going to roll out for that particular product.
Okay.
You might do CSM, Certified Scrum Master. That's the person who kind of helps facilitate the teams that are working on that particular product and helps them deliver that product within a certain framework of Scrum.
So Scrum would be like a good certification to have off top, just in general.
I think so. So. It's a process certification. So you're helping teams and organizations adhere to a process, and that process is Scrum.
Okay.
But I'm kind of biased because that was like one of the first certifications that I got and kind of the lane that I'm really in. But there are other certifications that could help. I would look into maybe project coordinator.
Okay.
A project coordinator role in a financial organization. Fintech. You familiar with that term, fintech?
Mm-mm.
Fintech. So fintech is like short for financial technology. Fintech.
Okay.
So I would look into different fintech companies because of your deep, again, financial background. It's going to be really attractive on your resume when people see that. And again, you seem personable as well. You've got the background in finance. It wouldn't be too difficult, I don't believe, for an organization to bring you in and kind of mentor you into the role that they want you to kind of roll into with your background.
Is that common? That like
is it what?
Mentoring, is that common? Like that whole mentoring, like you know, I got like this piece of knowledge, like the financial sphere. And so the tech is what I'm missing. So if hired, do a lot of on-the-job training.
Yeah, for the right organization and the right role, yes. I haven't really seen your resume, so I don't know like all of the skill sets you have. Normally, when I look at people's resumes, I can be like, oh, this is what we need to call out, and so we'll play up these specific things in your resume to help make you kind of more attractive. But yeah, I don't think you should have an issue if you play to your strengths, and that's what I try to encourage people to do: play to your strengths.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Atara. Who else we got in here? I keep hearing this from Alicia Elias. I keep hearing Scrum Agile in my Black employment tech groups. I actually started learning it on Coursera. I believe with a bachelor's degree and the cert that I have, I can be hired in that role. Of course you can. Alicia, I'll definitely say you potentially could be hired in that role. I would say, you know, if you can find a potential mentor or coaching group, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to get into that, but I don't have a doubt that you could with the right amount of studying. I think sometimes mentorship or coaching programs can help kind of collapse that time frame for you versus sometimes doing it on your own may take just a little bit of time. And I also want to touch on kind of people. I know people have been kind of crucifying coaching programs in the group. And so I just want to touch on this, right? Some people have more time than they have money. Some people have more money than they have time. So if you have a lot of money, but you don't have the time to dedicate 6 months, year, 2 years to kind of stumbling and bumbling and just kind of working your way through it, then people will be willing to spend money to collapse that time frame. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that if you're in that position. If you've got more time than you've got money, then there's nothing also wrong with just investing time in yourself and doing your own research and saving that money so that you can collapse the amount of money you have to spend and do that. The one danger that you may run into though is that like of time and money, only one of those resources is finite, right? So there's only a certain amount of time that we have to be able to really walk on this earth, right? And so sometimes people like have goals and things that they're trying to hit. And so sometimes dragging that time out can delay you from hitting your financial goals. And sometimes if you're able to spend that money on the front end, the amount of money that you'll make versus the amount of money someone else would have saved in that, it won't necessarily be an apples to apples comparison, right? Somebody may have saved, you know, $2,000-3,000 by not going through a program over 6 months, and somebody could have, you know, got a job and got hired within 3 months and been making $10,000 to $15,000 a month, so that in the same 3 months they made $45,000 while the other person saved $3,000, right? And so we just gotta choose and decide which route is better for us in our current situation. But there's not a wrong or a right way to do it, right? It's just wrong or right for you. All right, we got Alicia Elias in the chat that said her father is a programmer for Wells Fargo, 6 figures. So there's definitely money in the IT field. I got a message from someone that says, I am an HR professional for 5+ years of experience from Ghana. I'm currently looking to pivot into the tech space. Can you kindly advise? I'm currently in the United States. Melissa, are you still online? Doesn't look like, oh, you are. Melissa, would you like to go ahead and come on camera and come off mute so you can have a discussion with me? Maybe not. If not, I'll just go ahead and answer the question. HR professional. So there are a ton of recruiting roles in the IT space. IT is booming right now. So I think it would potentially be a somewhat simple transition. Oh, let me see. Melissa, if you want to come off mute now, maybe I've asked you to unmute yourself. Try again, Melissa, sorry. There you go.
Okay, so I'm on.
Yes. So tell me about what kind of roles you're looking to transition to in the tech space, Melissa.
Okay, so I mean, this would be very new to me. Like the tech space is new to me. So I'm currently looking at data analytics, since we have something like HR analytics and you need the same skills in HR analytics. And I'm also looking at, I mean, initially people talked about Scrum Master, right? Yeah, so I have like a list of them: Scrum Master, data analytics, and project management, which I think is not tech really, it's not tech related, but those two, Scrum Master and data analytics.
Sure. So I would say like project manager is just as tech as Scrum Master. At the end of the day, it just depends on the projects that you're working on, right? So you can do project management for non-tech projects and tech projects, just like you could do Scrum for tech projects and non-tech projects. So those two are very similar. I think the process for Scrum and the process for project management are just different, but they are very similar as far as what the role aims to accomplish, not necessarily what the roles do in the day-to-day, but what they're aiming to accomplish. So I'll say if you're looking into, I got a screaming baby in the back. If you're looking to move into tech in that analytics space, particularly HR analytics, because you've got that HR background, do it. I think you play up the similarities in your current or your previous HR role, and use that as a springboard to help you transition into the next role. Are there any analytics or data and analytics certifications or courses that you have taken or are looking into taking? Melissa, you don't have to go off of mute to chat with me. Come back. Can you unmute, Melissa? There you go.
All right,
you don't have
so
to,
sorry
you don't
about
have to
that.
mute yourself. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. So I'm currently taking the data, a Google Data Analytics course.
Perfect.
I am on like section week 4, and then I'm also taking a boot camp. I'm also in a boot camp. Next week will be my last week, and
Perfect.
then also I've applied to a couple of boot camps, like what's the name of this one? Full Stack. Okay. And a couple of them. So I'm here to receive any response from them. So that's what I've done so far.
Here's one of the questions I asked you. Have you created any projects coming out of those boot camps and coming out of those trainings yet?
Okay, so I just started. So I am creating my first project. I'm collecting data. So I'm here to create any portfolio whatsoever. Perfect.
So I think that's going to be one of the deciding factors for you, right? How good is your portfolio? So I would say really focus on building out that portfolio as you come out of that project and have some really, really good data and some really good statistics and data that you've analyzed. My brother's fiance / wife in a couple of weeks got into the data and analytics field. She previously worked for FEMA. So not a lot of IT experience. She went through a data and analytics boot camp. She put together a really great portfolio and she was able to apply and is now working for one of the cities in the Metroplex of DFW area. And so that is an amazing opportunity for you. Just make sure that your portfolio is good and you've got multiple data and analytics projects that you can show them when you go into those interviews.
Okay, so one last one. So how about the many transferable skills I've acquired over the years as a human resource and professional? Sure. Which areas do you think I could use them? Like which tech areas do you think that they could be very useful?
So I think literally every area of tech, those customer service are useful. Those customer service skills are useful. From just like
tech sales.
Dealing with, say it again.
Tech sales.
Tech sales, yes, absolutely. If you want to transition into tech sales, you can transition into tech sales because you've had to keep employee records, right? And in tech sales, they've got to keep records of kind of the sales that they do as well and the calls that they make and the leads as well. So I think, again, depending on how you can draw that correlation, if you can draw the correlation and you can speak to it confidently in an interview and you're able to write it out well on your resume, you can literally transfer any skill from any career into tech.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
I'm confident. And you're my neighbor in Ghana, so you'll do well.
Right.
Thanks, Melissa.
Yeah.
All right, Kelly, operating room registered nurse, currently a travel nurse. I've been a nurse for 6 years and a dental assistant for 6 years prior to nursing. I know for sure I want to transition into tech and I have many interests. I'd like your advice on how to choose which area to pursue. Also advice on how to get my foot into the door. Kelly, are you able to come off mute and turn your camera on? And this is similar to, yes, I can hear you. Were you on the call at the beginning when we, oh, no problem. Were you on the call at the beginning of the live when we were talking to the other nurse that's here?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So do you also have similar skills or experience working with like Epic or Cerner?
Yes, I've worked with Epic, Cerner, and Meditech, the other programs you mentioned.
Okay. Does that role interest you of an Epic or a Cerner or a Meditech trainer or support person?
Yes.
Okay. So again, I would, man, I wish also, if you want to inbox me on Facebook and the other young lady, I'll find the names of the largest healthcare go live recruiting companies and I can send them to you.
Okay.
I don't remember them offhand, but I can share those with you. And I've got a buddy who was a project manager for them for several years, and he doesn't work there anymore, but he can definitely help give me a list of some of their competitors and the biggest people in that space to help make that transition a little bit smoother for you.
Okay.
Do you have any, and I mean, again, right, working in the healthcare field, having that experience, having that knowledge makes you a perfect candidate. If you're able to get the medical company that you work for to sponsor you for that Epic certification, that's going to put you head and shoulders above a lot of the competition that's in the same space.
Okay. And would you recommend doing any training or certification ahead of time?
Not necessarily, since you already have that experience. Was there a different area of tech that you were interested in getting into? Were you trying to get out of healthcare altogether? What were your thoughts?
I wouldn't mind a role like with Epic Live, Go Live, or Cerner Go Live, because that's actually what started my interest in looking into the tech field. But I don't mind leaving healthcare altogether.
Okay.
Like I said, I have a lot of interest from software engineering to cybersecurity. I'm someone that wouldn't mind starting in support, help desk. Like, I have a wide range of interests. I probably need to narrow that down as well.
Yeah. Okay, so here's another piece of info that I give you. There is also, since you mentioned cybersecurity, there's a special certification, if memory serves me correctly, for security in healthcare, cybersecurity in the healthcare field. I don't remember. Let me see if I can find the certification. CHPA is one of them. The Cyber Healthcare Professional Association or something like that. Well, there's the HCISSP, which is the healthcare CISSP, but I can't find them right now. I can't find the specific one, but there are several security certifications that are specific to healthcare because the level of encryption and patient information that has to be stored even differently than like financial information or just regular information. So again, with your healthcare background, if you're looking to go into security and you already have an understanding of like the HIPAA laws and the government laws for how customer or patient information has to be stored, that's another area that you could potentially pivot to. All right. Thank you, Kelly.
Okay. Thank you.
Not a problem. Alicia says, I didn't finish the Scrum program. It was self-paced and I got busy and forgot about it, but I'm going to pick it back up after speaking with you. Great, Alicia. Tammy Clark says, I'm having trouble with my resume because I don't have tech skills, but have PMP. Where's Tammy at? Tammy, you want to come off mute and tell us what skills you do have? What skills do you have?
So I just recently got my PMP, last year, and I'm in higher ed. So I've not done any projects as of yet. And so when you say build portfolios, like I'm at the beginning stages, so I really don't know what's included in the portfolio. I know projects, but I've not seen like a portfolio for beginners that's trying to transition. And I was listening to what you were telling the lady before me, because I was in healthcare before higher ed. So I'm like, I'm working on finishing my Scrum, and I'm also doing the security cert now. So I'm like, that's a good idea to pivot in PMP and healthcare, but I still don't know what I'm doing, to be honest with you. And when I get my resume out there, they're like, well, it looks good, but you don't have any tech experience.
So again, when you were in education, do you remember the softwares that you used to track like your students and communicate with patients in the district?
Yes.
Okay. I would add those softwares onto your resume and say that you're like a subject matter expert in those. How long were you in healthcare? I'm sorry, how long?
Education.
Yeah.
About 7 years, and healthcare about 10 years.
Okay. So I would say that makes you probably a subject matter expert or SME on those softwares in the education field as well as in the healthcare field. So I would pull those softwares out and start listing them on your resume and start trying to make a slight transition in that direction. I would also suggest that you go to startups as well, right? I think I suggested that to the other young lady, but go look at some of these startups and see, like, are you looking for project manager or even project coordinator positions, right? So I know a project coordinator might be a kind of a step back for you, but in order to get the experience in IT that you're looking for, you may need to take a step back before you can take a step forward. So if you can get a project coordinator role in IT and work that for 2, 3, 6 months, then start looking for project manager roles in IT. When they look at your resume, they won't see the missing IT experience that they're necessarily looking for. They'll see, oh, she's currently working at an IT organization or on an IT project, doing project coordination. And previously she worked in healthcare and in the education field. So right now they're seeing a gap, right? And so if you can fill that gap, even if it's just with one job with 3, 4, 5 bullet points, even if you've only been there for a few months, that could be like the gap closer that they need to help go ahead and bring you in.
Okay, and 2 more things. I hear a lot of people say, because my job titles doesn't equate to the work that I volunteered and that I did in that role. So a lot of people say, well, just change your job title to match what you're looking for. But my fear is when they go to that job title or they call and get proof of employment, and they say, well, was she this person? What title did she have? Or they visit your LinkedIn page says something different. Like that will automatically kick you out of the job game. And then secondly, I joined late, sorry. I had an appointment.
Okay.
But where do you find these startups at?
So inbox me on Facebook. I have to do some research to find the company. But on LinkedIn, I believe when you're searching for companies, you can search by company size as well. I think that's a filter that you can do. Companies with so many employees. So you want to probably look for companies that are between 0 up to maybe like 1,000 or even less employees. If you can find one with like 100 or even 500 employees, that's probably going to be a pretty small company that'll be relatively easy for you to get in at. But if you inbox me on Facebook, I'll do my research and search through my history and find those startup company, find that startup website with all the startup companies, and I'll send it to you.
Perfect. And do you suggest that you change the titles on your resume to kind of get through the system and match what you're looking for?
So give me an example of what you would change your title from and to.
Like, for example, business analyst, financial analyst. One job I did in healthcare was reimbursement assistant. I wasn't an analyst, but I was assistant. But because my then boss was the director, I did a lot of data analysis for her and ran a lot of reports for her and the CFO, but I was just the assistant. So would it be okay to change it to reimbursement analyst, knowing that I wasn't an analyst, I was just assistant?
So me personally, I would do that. That's because I've worked in so many organizations that change the names and titles, and you probably have too. They change the titles like whenever they want to, right? They're like, oh, you was this, we're gonna call you this now. Like we're doing a whole reorg in the company and we're changing everyone's titles. So from company to company, the title for what you actually do may not actually match. But based on what you explained to me that you did, that does sound like an analyst role. And so what I would do in the interview is I would just be transparent about that, right? If they like you enough based on what they see in your resume and they call you in there and they're like, well, tell me about your role as an analyst here. Like, well, that was a long time ago. And the title for that wasn't necessarily analyst at that time, but let me explain my duties to you, and kind of based on what I've grown to learn about the industry, I was actually doing analyst work. And then if you can dive into the analyst work that you were doing and use the same language that analysts use in the interview and convince them that you were actually an analyst, I don't think the official title will matter so much. A lot of times what they're looking for when they do those employment verifications is one, that you actually work there, that the time you actually work there matches up, and that you're eligible for rehire.
Oh, great point. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is like, shoot your shot, change your resume, do it for a month, see if it works, right?
Any good resume writers you recommend? Professional writers?
I would say find a resume writer that specializes in your field that you're trying to get into, right?
Okay.
Don't just get a general resume writer. If you're looking for IT, if you're looking for tech, if you're looking for business analysts, find someone that has experience with those specific types of resumes. Don't just go to a generalist.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, change your resume. If you get bites on it, keep it. If it doesn't work, or if you get, kind of deep in and it kind of backfires on you, change it back, right? It's a resume, it's a LinkedIn. We can just change it.
Okay.
Not in stone, right? Good
Thank
question,
you.
Tammy. Thank you. Let's see. Melissa, inbox me on Facebook with that question, and we'll see if I can give you some more insight. All right, y'all. It is 12:12. I think I'm gonna call it for the Zoom. I just want to check. We're streaming on Facebook and we're also in the group. So I just want to see if anybody has dropped any comments or questions on the chats and the other places that we're at. Give me just a moment, y'all. And we'll call it though. We'll call it. It's been a really good session. I appreciate everyone joining in with us and hanging out here. Feel free to connect with me on Facebook. I try to post some resources in the Black IT group every once in a while. I'll chat, post some funny memes, try to comment on some of the posts that come in. Me personally, I'm in Scrum. I'm a Scrum master. I'm an Agile coach. I'm a project manager. I've got a Scrum coaching program. So that's kind of my area of specialty. But in my career, up to this point, I started at like very entry-level basic IT support, like connecting computers, connecting monitors, disconnecting them. So I was a guy crawling under the desks, hooking up computers. And so I've been able to move through not every single role, but a lot of different roles in the IT space to finally land here. And, I've salary wise, I know I said I like to talk about salary, but I've made everything from as low as $16 an hour up to $120 an hour in this space. So I can definitely understand why people will want to get in here and do this work, because it is, I don't want to necessarily say easier than a lot of other work, but I believe that like tech is going to be one of the great equalizers for Black people, both here in America as well as in my home country of Nigeria and Africa overall. And that's because like with technology, you can literally reach out all over the world and work with people. And so I've seen what technology has been able to do for the country of India and Indians, and how like deep into technology they are, and how they've been able to get, such a strong foothold in it and build like generational wealth and break generational curses for people and move people here to the US and like businesses and apartment buildings and do so many amazing things. And so I think that we can do the same thing with technology, but we just don't have the same information afforded to us. And so that's why I try to give back when I can, try to teach when I can, and try to just help my people break in and let people know, like, the barrier for entry isn't as high as you think it is. I promise it's not as difficult to get into tech as you think it is. It may take a lot of perseverance. It may take you pushing through hard. It may take you going through a bunch of interviews. It may take you like failing some interviews. It may take you like getting rejected from some interviews. But at the end of the day, like, don't give up, right? I can pretty much guarantee you that you've done more work for less of an outcome. So don't be scared to do more work for a larger outcome. And whether that work is like consistently working on your resume, working on certification, studying online, like, there's nothing on the World Wide Web that you can't find and use for your benefit. Literally, when I was first getting in, I used a bunch of resources on Udemy. Some were free, some were very inexpensive. Udemy.com has classes as low as like $9.99, $5.99. There are places like lynda.com, LinkedIn Learning, so many different resources. Even if you just have to go to just straight to YouTube, you can go to YouTube and Google like literally anything, like, how do I become a Jira administrator, right? And there are whole Jira classes that you can take on YouTube to become an expert at Jira. You can go to jira.com and sign up for a free Jira account. I was talking to a young lady earlier today about Jira, which is the ticketing system that we use a lot on Scrum teams or in product development teams. And she says she has experience from the help desk. I'm like, have you ever thought about becoming a Jira admin? That's a 6-figure certification. You can get a Jira administration certification and go somewhere and make 6 figures as a Jira admin. And she's already got experience, although working on the help desk, but working on Jira. So that's a directly transferable skill. So now when they ask how many years of experience you have in Jira, she could say 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, versus thinking, oh man, I need that many years of experience as a Jira admin. No, not as a Jira admin, just working in Jira. What is Jira? Marquita? So I don't want to pick on you, but on my Facebook page, I said, I'm not answering any more what is questions. So my suggestion would be Google, what is Jira, right? If we're trying to break into technology, if we're trying to get into IT, we're trying to get into tech, you spelled it exactly right, Jira. Google what is Jira, or you can go to jira.com, or you can go to YouTube and type in, how do I use Jira, and see like basically a layout or a demonstration of Jira. Again, you can sign up for a free account. They've got a lot of free classes on the website. There's a lot of resources on YouTube. They put out a lot of resources, that organization, on how to use Jira and how to be a super user on it. But that's a 6-figure certification, and it's just the software that people use for ticketing or for, you know, product or project management. And so, yeah, use Google, use the internet. It's at your disposal. Man, when I was doing IT support, 80 to 90% of my day was spent on Google. Like, a customer will come to me like, hey, I'm trying to transfer these emails over from this computer to my Apple computer. How do I do it? I'll be like, you know what? Leave that computer with me with your password. I will handle that for you within the next couple of hours, right? As soon as they walk away, I hop on Google. How do you transfer emails from a PC to a Mac? Guaranteed there's a YouTube video popping up or an article that somebody has wrote on Reddit or on TechNet or one of these other technical websites with step-by-step instructions. I'm doing it on a computer, I'm reading an article. I'm doing it on a computer, I'm watching a video. I hit enter, it doesn't, boom, I did it, right? So literally someone came to me with a support issue or support question that I didn't know how to answer necessarily, but I was able to talk to my best friend, Google, and get an answer. So don't be scared to use those same resources, because when you get on the job, for a lot of you guys, that is exactly what you're going to see your colleagues doing, and that's exactly what's going to be kind of expected from you as well. So with that, I'll say y'all have a wonderful Sunday. Happy Saturday, sorry. Happy Black History Month. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the group and connecting with you all on Facebook. Peace. Take the hat off. I don't have a haircut. I'm not taking the hat off. Bye, y'all.